Welcome to One More Thing, a podcast like no other. I'm Kyle Thompson, coach, speaker, and turnaround artist, driven by enthusiasm and fueled by passion in everything I do.
And I'm Tori Barker, creative engineer and marketing guru. You're about to experience a podcast that will challenge you to think, reflect, laugh, and grow.
Come along with us as we share stories that will inspire you to be the best version of you.
It's all about embracing change and the power of transformation.
Know we believe in you. We've got your back. You've got this.
All that we ask of you is to show up with an open mind and an enthusiastic heart.
So sit down, buckle up, and hold on. So how are you doing, Tori? How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good. Okay, so latest update with me.
Oh.
What I've been up to, fun, creative stuff.
Yeah, what are you
that I
doing?
do. So my son Ryan, who's 5, just started soccer. And so being the creative one that I am, I took on the team banner. So I got to design the team banner. So first of all, their name is Guardians of the Goal.
Yes.
And it's a spin-off of Guardians of the Galaxy. I've never seen it.
I haven't either.
I had to look it up. But apparently it's a movie.
Super cool
movie, and it's like galaxy type stuff. And so I reached out to the coach and I said, hey, what do you want to do for this banner? And he said, oh, just, do whatever. If maybe you can make it look like the Guardians of the Galaxy, then great. It's like, okay. So I kind of sat on it for a couple of days, and I called a print shop and I said, hey, do you do, design for banners? Oh, sure. Just send us what you want and we'll figure something out. And I thought, I can't do that. I can't relinquish that control of creativity.
No.
So I finally came up with a design, and I'll have to share it with you guys.
It's amazing.
It's so cute.
I want to play soccer again.
So we had our first game this past weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so the boys had their first game. They won.
Ooh.
7-6. They
1-0.
played the Lincoln Dinos, which is super cute.
So
I know. They're 5 years old. They're
oh, my
adorable.
God.
So we had our banner up. We got to make some adjustments because the pole that's supposed to hold it wasn't as straight as it needed to be.
It should have been.
But the banner looked phenomenal.
Everybody's like, who did your banner? Who did your banner?
And you know what?
And
okay. I had to take it a step further because that's usually what I do.
Yes.
So I made, my mom and I have a Cricut machine. And so it's like a craft cutting machine.
So that's what you need to tell, because you had told me a Cricut
Yes.
machine. I had no idea. Okay, so craft making machine.
Yeah,
okay.
it cuts vinyl, fabric, different
Oh
material
my
types.
gosh.
So I made water bottle stickers with the name of the team and the kid's name on it too.
Can I get one?
Sure. Yeah.
Kyle, where is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they never know.
No, they'd never know. That's the beauty of having a name like Kyle. That's just the beauty of it. Listen, I saw it and I said, this is phenomenal. Amazing. They should be undefeated.
I know. Just based on
that
banner
alone. The banner. Well, shouldn't they factor that in? Because, that's, soccer's
style.
that way. It's like PK. They go into penalty kicks if they don't score.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to make it interesting, it should be based on banner. You win.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
Okay, so
what have you been up to?
Oh God, you don't even want to know.
I don't know.
Well, most people don't want to know, or people that do want to know say, "I just don't make eye contact with her. Look away from her." Here's the deal: I love to dance, and so this fabulous woman who is my skincare woman, Janelle, she is wonderful. She sent out this message and said, "I'm going to have and just do this at my house. I'm going to do belly dancing lessons." And I go, "Oh, wait a minute. I can't make that." And then I thought, God, I hope they do it again. So she sent out another message because she blogs and she's very active and she's fabulous and wonderful skin lady as well. But the long and short of it is she was going to do it again. And so I went.
Oh my gosh.
And there are things I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be like moving things as I'm brushing my teeth. Yes. Oh. Everyone kind of looks at me. And I actually do it in the grocery line and I'm asked to leave. Security,
What's that crazy lady doing?
And it looks like she either has to go to the bathroom and I'm just shaking and isolating areas. And I thought, wow, I cannot believe this.
Wow.
It's kind of sensual. It's like, oh, wait a minute. This is kind of I might need a cigarette. Listen, I'm fine.
This is better than your radiation story.
I am so am so happy. You have no idea. And I know I'm glowing. So there we go. So for all of you who want to know, did you get a man in your life? Are you dating? No.
Belly dancing.
And for those of you who have me on Facebook, that's the routine I want to do. And I'm going to do that routine. I'm telling you. But anyway, so that's what's going on with me. That's the hot. I didn't make a banner. I'm not that talented.
Maybe we can have a segment on belly dancing and you can bring your lady on.
Wait a minute. She would be fabulous.
I will not.
Oh, you'd be simple.
No.
Oh, I might get her. I might get her over there. The funny thing was this woman is probably in her 70s, I'm thinking. Yeah. And she's up there and I'm thinking, she's amazing. I mean, and then she would talk you through things. Like when your hand goes up. Yeah. And if she's shaking her belly and stuff like that. And I'm going, if that woman's getting more action than me, I need to be belly dancing. Anyway, so it's really fun. But
secret.
Yeah. Well, you and I talk about this all the time where you go, you need to be more adventurous and you need to launch out. And now here's the next chapter. And what are you doing? And I love to dance. So it's belly dancing. And then a friend of mine today was just talking and she said, I'd love to go to a burlesque lessons. And I go, I'm in. And I think somebody does that somewhere.
I'm sure we
or I'm going to. That's it. So burlesque is next. I'm so sorry that you all have to listen to my nonsense. Nobody wants to see this old woman get up there and do that. But for those that do, I'm your girl.
I'm your girl.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so down to brass tacks, down to what we're really here for, right?
Yes.
Other than this wonderful conversation and spending time together, which we always love doing. Tori and I always go back and forth with topics. This one really kind of is most important to the two of us in light of where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So basically we sat down and talked a little bit about, so why are we doing this? And Tori, and I, as we were chatting, said, in launching into new chapters of our life and new areas that we were trying to grow our business, and now we're both small business women, and having left careers that were completely different and moving into this other phase, we naturally were looking for people that we wanted to emulate or, follow suit, learn from. Mm-hmm. And what better way than to do that through mentors, right?
Absolutely. So I put a poll up on Facebook, on our Facebook page, to see, is this relevant to just us?
Yeah. Are we just angry? Or is it
just something that we want to talk about? But no, it was across the board. Most people wanted to know about the importance of a mentor. Mm-hmm. So that's where we came up with the topic, from our own experience and frustration, right?
Because frustrations, listen, when you hear what we have gone through as it relates to this, you might find similar, like, wow, I thought that I was alone. I thought people just didn't like me. Yeah. No, you're not alone. And maybe people don't like me, but they would like Tori. But I just think that it's so essential because I think we have a greater responsibility that's wrapped around this, right? Yeah. So both of us could immediately liken to the fact that mentors have been that sage advice, those people that have been in our life or that we watched that would tell story after story after story. Yeah. And my dad and people that I would be around would always say, hey, reach out to somebody. If you want to know more about math, if you want to know more about growing a garden, if you want to know more about being a better parent, if you want to know about starting a business, reach out to people. Mm-hmm. Well, we did. We reached out to people.
We'll tell you what we found.
Yeah, that was.
We'll get there.
But with that advice, what we were talking about was the fact that so many people were monetizing that advice. And given that that's the case, it used to be that the advice that and counsel you would get from people was priceless. Yeah. And I always harken back to like an Andy Griffith moment where you would be on the front porch and you're rocking back and forth and you come back from the diner, Barney's gone to see Thelma Lou and, the whole thing. And yet you would get this incredible wisdom from people imparting that and what they have had experienced in their life. But nobody charged for that and they didn't monetize it, but yet the advice was priceless. Absolutely priceless. Yeah. So Tori, expand on that a little bit for yourself in terms of your experiences or people that you've talked to in the same manner.
Yeah. So, when I was in the season of transitioning to being a business owner, I naturally started looking for somebody who could mentor me.
Yeah.
Someone who I could learn from, somebody who had been through this and could give me sound advice. Preferably somebody like-minded who does something creative marketing in a similar industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it was really hard to find someone. I did a lot of searching and I reached out to a few people, and the response that I got, so I reached out and I said, hey, I really value your friendship and, who you are. And I, recognize what you've done for your business and growth and blah, blah, blah. I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee or sit down and have lunch and pick your brain and just kind of, chat, just
Perfect.
really looking for a mentor, somebody who
Perfect.
can help me on this journey. And the response that I got was basically, well, I do charge blah, 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 blah. And I thought to myself, wait a second, I wasn't asking for that. I just wanted to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really seems to be hard to find somebody willing to.
Who doesn't monetize it.
Monetizing.
And who doesn't say, listen, the only way you're going to get anything from me is if you pay me. I mean, I start thinking about, we were talking about all the mentors in our life, and probably one of my greatest mentors was my dad. But I told Tori, I said, I could just imagine my dad saying, listen, before I tell you anything, put $1 in the jar. What? Well, first of all, he would have been rich.
Yeah.
But by the same token, who does that? I just don't understand. And here's the essential piece. Just by virtue of sitting down with somebody, it doesn't mean that you're engaged in this committed relationship with them. It's just a matter that they think enough of you. Wouldn't that be great for somebody to call you and say, I respect you enough based on who you are and what you've done, that I want to see if I can get some information from you? Because they're not going to do it the same way.
Yeah.
They're going to put their own spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were absolutely, and by the way, it wasn't relegated to Tori. It was me too, because I have been so frustrated. Or people that will sit there and go, oh yeah, you'd be great at that. Here she is starting her marketing business, and she is very capable. So she's not looking for, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
She's looking for other essential pieces.
Yeah.
Same thing for me. As a personal and business coach and speaker, I don't need you to tell me how to do it. I just want to know maybe some things that I should avoid, or things that you think would send me in the right direction based on where I want to go.
Yeah.
Just open the path. Just pull a couple of weeds so I can go on the path.
Yeah.
You don't have to put the path down. I get it.
Yes.
I'm a girl who can handle it. And so is she. So we figured that in this day and age, there's something that's really essential and that's missing. So we wanted to define that first by saying, so why did we do this? And that's really the basis by which we did this. And we're hoping that by having this today, that we open it up so that people get back on track with that.
Yeah. A lot of the podcasters and stuff that I listen to, they often talk about things that are struggles of theirs because it's relevant to them, but you find out that it's relevant to so many other people.
Amen. Yeah.
So really speaking and articulating and, putting this out there makes the conversation grow.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is that why would you expect a return on a conversation with someone? That is just so bizarre. It's like
mentality, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a prostitute. I'm sorry, but if you're taking money, there's an expectation for an exchange of services, and shame on you. You should be arrested. But anyway, that was our reason. But we went a little further because we said, okay, in order for us to go through this, we wanted to have a definitive definition of a mentor. So it's pretty short and sweet, and it goes as follows. A mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor. Tori and I said role model. We threw that in there. And then, Tori, you can read maybe different words that you could assign to a mentor.
So an advisor or a guide, a confidant, a counselor, consultant, or therapist.
Yeah.
I would even say a leader.
Amen. Yeah, because we were talking about that just before we went on, and Tori said, would you think like a leader? And I'm thinking, yes. I mean, there would be certain things that you would say, I definitely want to emulate. Yeah. And there would be other things that you say, not in my wheelhouse. I'm not that person. And that's what I never understand about people who want to monetize this, because candidly, there's no one like me. There's no one like her. So if I'm coming to you, it's not because I want to embody you or be like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and take your identity or something. Don't worry about it. Or Stepford Wives. I'm not that person. I want to do this with my spin on it. And if you want credit, oh, I'm your girl. She's your girl. We'll be happy to give you the credit. But that's not what that exchange should be about either. So verb wise, what did it say, Tori?
To advise or to train.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely. I mean, I can't even, I think back to when I was younger and the mentors that I had in my life, as a child and in high school, but then as an adult, that advisor person just has been non-existent.
And so what happens? So what happens? I mean, it's kind of like one of the episodes that we did about the artist, who's the best artist in the class, and in kindergarten, all the kids raised their hands and we're like, we're all the best artists. And then all of a sudden, as little as, third grade, well, then nobody, maybe 3 kids raised their hands. So one of the things that when we were talking about that, and when you just said that, I think a lot of times it's because people have sought people out and they've been slapped. Yeah. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. I'm trying to start something new. I don't have money to give you. I actually had somebody who wanted to charge me $5,000. I'm like, are you insane? And knowing me, that's exactly what I asked them. So I guess this is essential. This piece is really important because what we want you to do is we don't want you to be afraid to ask people, because there are people out there that are willing to do this with sage wisdom and advice, and they recognize that it's their opportunity to pass the baton. And we don't want you to be afraid to mentor and have some expectation of some return. The return is that you did something for your fellow human, right? Yeah.
Did you say that you recently listened to a podcast about the 5 generations in the workforce now?
Yeah, so we were going to talk about the fact that this is a really, and maybe that's why it kind of got started in that direction too, because I told Tori, I said, I just heard that in history, it's the first time that 5 generations exist in the workplace. Yeah. You're like, this is like, just full of opportunity for people to learn from one another. But you have like this disparity. The disparity is there are people that can impart wisdom, and then the people who they could impart wisdom to are texting. And the best way that that's going to happen in terms of that exchange of ideas or the opportunity to be mentored is being lost between that disparity. So we want that full engagement, like we've said before, full contact. Hand-to-hand contact or combat or something. But we also have said before that, 30% of the ability for you is increased by 30% when you're in front of someone. Yeah. If you're a salesperson, you have to know this. If you're trying to sell me something on the phone, click. Yeah. If you're texting me and telling me that you would like to go out with me, obviously I'm really on this charge you're going now, texting me and I'm not interested.
I want to hear your voice.
That's right. And I'm very tactile. I want to touch, like the towels at the store or something. I just feel like the engagement is so much more important, and the likelihood of you actually being able to convey your message, right? Mm-hmm. And your ability to be able to say, listen, I care. I value you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think what's too bad about this process is we're sitting here talking about mentors is Tori's experience, my experience, and potentially your experience. But we really want to get that changed. And with 5 generations and 5 separate generations of experience, don't think for one moment because your DQ is greater than your EQ that somehow you've got it made. Now that DQ, for those of you who don't know, digital quotient. So your tech is way up here, but your EQ, your emotional quotient, is way down here. When in effect, it should be more like this, no matter where you are in that. Tori, tell them about the average number of texts.
So, interesting fact, the average number of texts that a teen sends a day, in one day, is an average of 100 texts.
What?
Can you believe it?
No.
I think I send that in maybe a month. I don't know. Maybe a week. I don't know. But 100 in a day? That's crazy.
And we talk about this all the time too, because like people that we engage in and talk to, what's your preferred method of communication, right? So they'll say text.
None.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer you not reach out to me or talk to me ever again.
I need your help, but I don't want to
Done.
talk to you.
Done. Done. But we were absolutely flabbergasted when we heard that because we thought to ourselves, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. So this is like almost like a crusade
Yeah.
for us,
I think
right?
so.
Because
Yeah.
we feel really strongly about it. Maybe that's why we're both in red. We're just like,
power color.
yeah, we're coming at it hard. But we also want you guys to recognize not only the value of it, but the role that you can play in it too,
Yeah.
to be mentored or be a mentor. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we went through the average texts. Obviously, most people, when they are being mentored, they talk a little bit about why. So if you're in front of somebody, I just want to make sure that you are very concise with your message, whatever you may need, if you need to be mentored. And when you are mentoring, make sure that you hear what the need is as well. So it's kind of a social grace kind of thing.
Yeah. You need to be respectful of each other.
And their time.
As the mentor, be respectful. And in being mentored, respect the person who's mentoring you.
Amen.
Yeah.
So we couldn't have this go without telling you who our mentors are and why, right? Yes. So Tori's going to tell you who her mentors are and why. And I think then it'll help or maybe paint a picture that's a little bit easier to understand.
Well, we had talked about mentors kind of being in different stages of our life. So a mentor could be someone who's there for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And for me, a lifetime mentor role model has always been my parents, just because they've instilled the wisdom in me growing up. And then now as a mother, I've had a whole totally different relationship with my mom because of that. And learning from her as I grow and, raise my children. So that is a mentor and a role model for me. That's a lifetime for me. There's people who have been a season. So like in high school, I had a leadership teacher, Mr. Howard Zinn. I love him. He was our leadership coach, our leadership teacher. And so he was a role model for me as a leader. And he was a big cheerleader for me. Oh. And so he was always my biggest fan and encouraged me to do whatever I could. And he just saw greatness for me. So he was a seasoned mentor for me. And then at that same time, my softball coach, Janice Richner, she was my mentor who helped me through that season of my life and helped coach me to play softball in college because she played college softball. Yeah. And so I kind of followed in her footsteps to get guidance on how to go about doing that, what was needed, what level of expertise and everything. So she was a huge part of my life in that capacity. And then in college, and this is kind of interesting too, because sometimes you think of mentors as being older than you, but not necessarily. So in college, I met a really good friend of mine, and she probably doesn't know this.
Oh, this is really nice.
She is a mentor to me. Her name is Verna Sulpizio. Aww. And she just has been, she's the same age as me, maybe a year older. And her career path and her focus on what she's passionate about has been something that I have always followed and wanted to emulate. Because she's just so driven and she's so talented. And so, her and I are dear friends since college. We don't see each other very often, but when we do, it's like we pick up right where we left off. Aww. I could call her the drop of the hat. Hey, I need advice. What should I do? And every time I've kind of gone through changes in careers and stuff like that, I've reached out to her and we've had these heart to hearts. Oh. And so she's a huge mentor for me, but
I think, I love that this Verna is not going to have a clue. And if she's watching, Verna, you better be watching. This is if you need it for a resume, please call Tori. Because now, focused, passion, going. Okay, so because you just said this though, and we just talked about this, you also mentioned, because it sounds like after college ended. So moving forward, was there any effort on your part to try to get in front of people? And
absolutely.
So talk a little bit about what that was like. And then more importantly, Tori, moving forward now, what that experience made you feel like and what else have you done?
So I just wanted to say too, another mentor of mine has been Kyle.
Oh,
And
wait a minute, I'm here.
She Shh, don't tell her.
Don't tell her.
No, but seriously, she
so
has
sweet. I love
been a mentor to me, just in her enthusiasm and her leadership and her
I love you.
tenacity.
Thank you.
And so she's someone that is my new lifetime mentor.
There we go. Lifetime.
Yeah. But no, just watching, you and getting guidance from you, has been priceless for me.
Well, this has been an exceptional experience for both of us.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I'm getting as well, I think I'm getting more from this than poor Tori. Tori's like, what did I get myself into?
No.
But
I do want to talk about
when you reach out? When you were reaching
so when
out?
I was reaching out,
Yeah.
I had a couple encounters and they weren't so.
Was it right after college?
Gosh, no. After college, I didn't.
You just kind of figured I'm
I
going to
just-
launch.
Yeah, I was in launch mode.
Yeah.
Well, Verna was kind of in that time
Same
frame.
thing.
She was the one who actually got me the job at the commercial real estate company
Oh, okay.
that
okay.
launched me into the marketing career.
Okay.
So she was kind of
good.
that person
Yeah.
in between. And then as I went through my career, I always kind of assumed my boss or my manager would be somebody that I could look up to. And unfortunately, I didn't have great leaders in place or in front of me to give me that guidance, at least on the path that I wanted to go down or up or whatever direction we want to go.
Or out.
Or out. but I didn't really, it was hard to find a mentor.
That's a good point.
And so, because I had assumed that, as a young employee, someone would take me under their wings
Mhm.
and try to, encourage me to grow and to learn and to strive for certain things. And I didn't have that. So that, I think, is in part why I started teaching myself and
Yeah.
educating myself and looking online for courses that I could learn or skills that I could teach myself, because I didn't have somebody physically in front of me to show me those skills and educate me along the way and guide me.
So let's go back to Tori coming out of college and somebody else that's in your shoes.
Yeah.
All right. So what advice?
Call me.
What advice? Well, she's your girl. What advice would you give, not the people, but a potential employer? As you said, I loved how you said, you could take under I wanted them to take me under their wing, or I wanted to be able to learn from them. So let's take it from the employer's perspective, because we don't have something that represents that here. What would you have liked to have seen, or you would have done that they didn't do?
Well, I would have liked to have somebody sit down with me annually every 6 months, just kind of a check-in. First, to see what my goals were, what I wanted to do, what I was passionate about, how I wanted to grow, and how they could help me.
Good point.
And then from there, somebody who would watch me along that path and advise me, say, maybe you should try this. I know that you're interested in this. Why don't you do that? Or provide opportunities to learn or be in front of or around the situation that would help me grow. So conferences or meeting different people who are like-minded, who, was a graphic designer and someone who can, show me the way that they went from graphic design to creative designer, creative director, whatever it may be, how they got to that path. So just really physically checking in with these people and really taking them under their wing and really helping with authenticity. And
you're specific.
Yeah.
What it has to be specific to you.
So sitting down with me and finding out what's important to me and then helping me meet those expectations.
And you had none of that in your experience in a mentor role. And even though, you can blur the line with boss, because a lot of people, their bosses, when they get into the workforce, typically represent potentially a mentor role.
Yeah.
A lot of people identify that, or someone who worked within their department. None of that existed for you. And launching out. So now if you're the person coming in, so you're Tori coming in,
Yep.
is there something that you could say to a would-be employer, maybe in an interview process or maybe somewhere along the line? What would you suggest for someone like that to say,
Yeah.
my desire is to grow, but I really want to fill in the blank as far as a potential mentor?
Yeah, I think
Learn from somebody, or is there somebody here that I could?
yeah, I think maybe just being more open about your expectations. Maybe that's what I didn't do. I didn't
I don't-
set the expectation that that's what
I don't know
I
that I would have
wanted.
either, though. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that as well. But if you were to say, I mean, because if somebody's in that point and they're venturing out now, Tori, and they're you back when you graduated from college, and you like are saying, boy, if I knew now what I knew then, what I know now, what would you tell them that would be very specific and important in essentially determining where they forge their path?
I would say don't narrow it to your boss. Look in outside sources. So I focused on that one person, and I think there's opportunities that you can reach out to other people within the industry that you are working in or passionate
point.
about
Good point.
to seek that out. And I think don't be afraid to ask.
Oh, yeah, very
Don't be
good.
afraid to ask somebody to guide you or mentor you because they don't know.
It's
if-
flattering.
Right,
If
and it's
somebody said
flattering.
that to me, I want to be like you, or I really admire what you do. I really admire who you are. Why do we not do that anymore with people? Why don't we have that conversation to just say, you're sensational as a mom or an ice cream scooper or whatever, it doesn't
How do you
matter.
scoop that ice cream.
more ice cream. But what I'm saying, why don't we do that anymore?
What would you advise if you were someone?
If I was somebody coming in, I probably would be like, I'm a little more direct, but I would say my experience has been that I really desire to grow. And in order for me to grow, I'd like to have people in front of me that are not only forging the path, but giving me the opportunity to do so. I don't necessarily want someone's job, but I do want somebody that I can emulate and look and say, that is a great way to go about it, because it expands my not only horizons, but my mind. And it allows me to learn. And especially since you're so big on the learning piece. I love that you said that.
Well,
No.
and I don't think that I even thought that I needed to ask. I guess
That's a good point too.
you know what I mean? Because I kind of was in the mindset that people just did that. You know what I mean? People just wanted to mentor someone. They saw something in them and they wanted to help them.
We saw it on TV.
Yeah. Right.
Mary Tyler
That's
Moore.
so true.
People, they do. They do that on TV. Why are we not doing it in real life?
So maybe that's the thing, is that I just assumed that somebody would take on that role for me instead of asking for it.
So you two can join our crusade.
Yeah. Power to the mentors.
And you don't have to call yourself a mentor and get a scepter and a crown and a cape and all of that. But to Tori's point, that's too bad.
Yeah. And when I was going through transitioning to owning my own business, because I had so many challenges finding a mentor in the past, I went and was seeking online, like podcasts. And so people don't even know I exist, right? But I'm learning from them, and they become a mentor to me because they, post content on a weekly basis. And it's kind of like your weekly check-in with
It's
that
the
mentor.
digital version of what we're talking about in person, because it's a community.
Yeah.
And we're not going to say it takes a village to raise a mentor, or, but that's not it. That's what Tori's talking about.
Yeah. But it's almost like that's what's expected now,
Mhm.
is that a mentor is in a digital fashion, that you don't even have to meet them.
No.
They don't even have to know you exist. But there's a totally different level. Sure, something like that can be important and can be useful. But I think, like at the beginning when you said that having a mentor is priceless, that relationship is priceless, it's the one-on-one, the connection that you cannot get from a digital voice.
And there should be absolutely, without a doubt, nothing that the mentor expects in return. Without a doubt. So all of you that are out there trying to monetize this, and can't figure out what to charge because you haven't done it in so long and probably aren't that good at it to begin with, shame on you. See, now Tori's far too nice, but shame on you for that. Because if somebody called you and picked up the phone and said, can I just take you to lunch, or can I just get you a cup of coffee? And do you mind sitting down and talking to me? Are you serious? It's my heart would just be like, oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah.
But not have an expectation that, okay, we're on the clock
so there's
here.
a difference though. I mean, sometimes I think these lines are blurred because there's a difference between a mentor and there's a difference between a coach.
Amen.
Because what you do for your business and coaching is completely different than your mentoring. And so I think that's where people get.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Get their lines crossed and they're confused.
Think so. I think you're right.
Because they're thinking, oh yeah, I can coach you. But really, I just want
my dad could barely coach me.
You can't handle this.
No one can.
But there's a difference between a mentor and a coach.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that too. So mentors are people who kind of come into your life and give you pause to reflect, give you an opportunity to think on a different level. Coaches come in and cut right through the crap. This is what's happening. This is how we assess it. This is what needs to be done. You need to do this. You've got to go here. Yeah. These are the tasks that have to follow. And in essence, they serve as a very specific, like almost like a project manager, or just like, if I looked and thought about Apollo 13 and all those guys in the room, and it's like, you're the capsule that they're trying to get home. It's like, that's where we're going to throw everything into, but you're going to have to get it home. So they would get it home. Mentors serve as your conscience, your guide,
your Jiminy Cricket.
That was kind of cute. So cute. I think you're absolutely right though, Tori. Okay. All right. So we need to acknowledge a comment because this is part of what.
You didn't talk about who your mentors were.
Okay, I'll talk about
my
sorry. No, that's okay.
Yes, this is very important. So I mentioned my mentors. I had 2 in high school. My dear friend Verna, who's still my mentor.
I think that's so cool. Verna, good for you.
See, don't tell her.
Secret's out. Everybody knows Verna. Everybody's got to tell Verna.
Yeah, everybody does know Verna.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. So, Kyle, tell us who your mentor is.
So, one of my mentors, ironically, made a comment, and Mate McKenzie in Washington, again, national show, love you to pieces, made a comment about mentoring. And so this is kind of what engaged us in this conversation as well. And it goes as follows. And Mate, I love you with all of my heart. And Mate is my spiritual mentor and is just near and dear to my heart, known him since high school. Just love him. So, so very, very dear. Mentoring and mentorship are terms that have been bandied about so much that they have lost their meaning, kind of back to what we were talking about. Any form of mentorship is a 5 to 10 year commitment. Might take you to task on that, my friend. And you know who's going to win because you're far nicer than I. But anyway, if it is to be indeed real mentoring. Sadly, people think that to be a mentor is a 1-year deal and then time to move on. Not so. So, Mate, I agree with you. I mean, because ours would be pretty long. Oof, I don't want to say, well, you already know how old I am, but we're talking 40 plus years of friendship. And I think as it relates to certain specific things within your life, I would agree unequivocally. But as you hear my mentors and why, maybe you might understand what I'm thinking. And if you want to talk about it more, you call me. You know where to find me. All right. So my mentors, I've talked about my dad before. Probably the singular greatest influence in my life would be my dad. Not around anymore. Had a hard time, I'm sure, keeping me in line, but he was my coach. And I think that is why I am so very focused on and really enjoy the coaching aspect of virtually everything. As long as I see people that are able to pursue things and I had something that kind of fueled that, I'm your rocket fuel. I'll get you there. And I typically like the people who everybody least expects, like they won't do it. They can't get it. And it's like, did you just say, yes, Rudy. So I've only watched that 3,000 times. And Casey, don't tell everybody that was more than 3,000 times. But he was the single greatest influence. My whole family, the great part not the great part of my father being gone, but the part that my dad having been gone is he imparted a lot of that wisdom to all of us. So I have brothers who are extraordinary. I admire my younger brother for his work ethic and his kindness. No one has a greater heart than my younger brother. My older brother is life observations, sense of humor. And I think when he says things, I hear my dad because he's very direct. My mother, singularly the kindest. I always call her the Mother Teresa of real estate. There is not anybody who has a greater heart, more generous, kind. My mother is a saint. And I just feel very, very fortunate that those people served as my mentors. But there is not anything that I do in my life that does not have attached Thompson to it. So my mentors, the Thompson crew. So God bless each and every one of you because I love you beyond measure. And I already talked to Dad at night, so don't need to cover him.
Got that covered.
Professionally, though, back to this, I was very fortunate in that I met Kathy Harry back at when I was working for a local brokerage. And Kathy, to me, represented as a manager somebody that I really wanted to emulate. And the reason I wanted to emulate her was primarily because, again, such a true teacher, so wise, so engaged, so caring about the outcome, not for herself. Yeah. And I told Tori, I said, the true measure of a mentor is Kathy, in that she would talk about how she was imparted this wisdom. And then she then kind of felt compelled to share it with someone else, not for how that benefited her, but how she could then ultimately help someone else. And honestly, I think of all of the teachers that she had, they probably are so very proud of her because she was and is exceptional, not only in for what she does within her industry, but beyond the scope of that, bringing value, teaching, caring. I mean, in an industry that is a dog eat dog sometimes, somehow or another, she was able always to navigate it with a smile and always, always putting other people first. So God bless you, Kathy, because I talk to Alan and Kathy Harry every week, and I tell her every time, you are a tremendous mentor to me, and I am grateful for having met you. So thank you. And from the standpoint of having gone through what I went through, Alan and Kathy as a couple represent that sense of adventure and just taking things on. And as I was going through treatment and all of that, I can remember thinking to myself, oh my God, these people just picked up stakes, moved clear across the country. They're in South Carolina. Again, national show.
One more thing, going national.
They did that, and it was so cute. I remember Alan saying, I'm scared to death. And I just loved that he just picked it up and said, I'm scared to death, but I'm still going. Yeah. They, within a year's time frame, guys, have done remarkable things. They bought a home back there. They're building a home. They are already, a builder has wrapped his arms around them and says, you guys are phenomenal. They deliver. And these people think they are like just dropped from the heavens because they've never seen realtors do business the way that they do business. That's awesome. So I applaud them because they gave me that sense of adventure. And again, that opportunity to say, there's nothing you can't do. Just face your fear, go on out there, and look what happens within a year's time frame. So I am their biggest cheerleader, and I am so very grateful to them from that standpoint. And one of my other ones I want to acknowledge because it's super important. And by the way, mate, to your point, you know how long my family's been in my life. You know how long you've been in my life. So those people, my spiritual advisor, my spiritual mentor, you definitely, without a doubt. My family already know. But Alan and Kathy Harry, relatively recent within my life. So not that long, but they represent something that's super important to me and serve as my North Star as it relates to the professional and just that sense of adventure. But I met a gentleman a little over a year ago when I was diagnosed and I'd gone through my first chemo treatment. And he served as sage wisdom, sage advice, having and going through the same battle himself on a prognosis that required him to get chemo virtually every day. I can never thank him enough. And he passed yesterday. And I just want to acknowledge Don. Oh, get really choked up. But he kept me going because there was nobody that was more of a driving force that served to me to say the WW instead of WWJD, it was always WWDD. What would Don do? Because he's the one who said, listen, keep moving and keep drinking water and flush that SHIT through you. And I thought, oh, this guy is my God.
Yeah.
So Don, you will forever be in my heart. I will always carry you with me. And I am truly blessed for having known you. And I will share you for the rest of my life. And I think that's the other thing about mentors, Tori, is that because of your experience with them, yes, they impart the wisdom. And yes, they live on. And we were talking about that. I said, when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was live forever. Can you imagine how awful that would be for most people if I lived forever? That I wanted to do that so badly. And this is your living legacy.
Yeah.
And not only that, but now you get to tell the stories. And it's always about whoever tells the best story. Whoever tells the best story wins. And that's how I feel. Now, don't lie through your story. But I'm just suggesting. So I just want to acknowledge those people. But there are a lot of people in my life that I'm extraordinarily grateful for and that are tremendous friends. And I just am so grateful that they're in my life, but they serve as a mentor and they serve as somebody. And I probably have to include one more, and that would be Carol Kellogg. Tremendous person to work with. We balanced each other very, very well. I love her with all of my heart. God, laughing with somebody. I'm so sorry. That's going to be always one of my conditions. If I work with somebody, can we laugh? Because if we can't laugh, we're done.
Yeah.
Carol is the consummate professional. What she was doing with me, I have no idea. God bless her.
She's like, where did I get this girl? How did I get paired up with this one? Just like me. I feel you, Carol.
Do you see a theme running through my life? Why do I have to be the one to watch her right now? But Carol, again, tremendous friend, but again, as a professional, really imparted a lot of wisdom to me, and I'm grateful for her too, and love you with all my heart. But I really, if I have to end on anything, guys, recognize, as far as the Don piece for me, that was somebody who was briefly in my life, but he still serves as a mentor, and I will carry him with me every day of my life. Did I get you to think about what you wrote? Maybe contemplate, because there's not anybody in that list, no matter where they've been in my lifetime or otherwise, and many more that I didn't have, nor we have the time to talk about, but boy, they have a huge impact on us, right?
Yeah. Do you want to quickly talk about 3 things?
Yes, Tori, I do.
So 3 things. You go ahead, you intro.
So we thought that would be best as far as a takeaway, the 3 things to be a mentor. Because those of you who want to monetize this and think you're pretty awesome, and you probably are, but don't do that, okay? But the 3 things to being a mentor, wanted to keep it short, wanted to keep it sweet, and you can remember. Here we go. Be open, receptive. So be open to people coming to you. Recognize that is quite a compliment. For God's sakes, that takes a lot for somebody to say, hey, I think you're pretty awesome. May I talk to you? Yeah. Be open and receptive to that. 2, give freely. Just dispense the advice, dispense whatever it is, and know that is something that somebody is looking forward to. And you may think, we talked about this too, you may think it doesn't mean anything, but that's that piece they needed to go launch, and you want to see them fly. Yeah. And then lastly, my mom had a sign in her office that used to say, or I think she still has it, it was everything counts. And everything does count. Back to that original piece, or that second number or second item that I said, as far as give freely. You never know what it's going to impact people, and how you think you're determining what's significant or not significant. Don't do that. Let them. But you never know who's watching you. You never know who's watching you. And you are always the last one to know your reputation. And I mean that good or bad, because we know enough people who have a horrible reputation and think they are it, and they are not, or they're it, but people think very differently of them. So again, be open and receptive, give freely, remember everything counts, and remember you're the last to know your reputation, and you never know who is watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 3 things to being mentored. Same thing, be open and receptive. So be willing to accept the guidance and advice that somebody is giving you. So receptive to that,
Yes,
that
good
word
point.
and information that they provide you with.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, every encounter or conversation is a chance for you to learn. So take that opportunity to hear what they have to say and learn from the guidance that they're giving you. And number 3, look for behavior and attributes that you want to emulate, something that you can put your own spin on and make your own. So something that was successful for them that you want to take and embody in your growth as you move forward. And then the 4th, I would throw in a 4th.
Okay, I love
because
this.
I think you need to be respectful of people's time.
Oh,
So,
good one. That's a good one.
yeah, as a being mentored,
That's a really great
you
one.
need to be respectful. So respect the person's time and come prepared to gather as much information as you can.
I think that's a good one.
Value their time, because
I think that's a really good one.
show them that you value their time. I mean, I think that's something that.
And
is
if
gonna
you are
speak
that
volumes.
way, I think more people would be inclined to mentor you ongoing if it was more of a formal mentoring.
Yeah.
If you just, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, because then they'd say, okay, well, I'll check in and, next year, or I'll check in. Or what. Okay, well, great. But what's the topic? Where are we going with this? And what do you need? And more oftentimes than not, I have to be candid. They're like we talked about, like a kind of keeping you on track and kind of a guidepost. And it's more your conscience. It's what you have now made and incorporated into you. I put at the end here, they're what keep you moving or living, or that true North Star. They're that part of you that says, I have this within me because of the effect that Tori had on my life. I am the person that I am because of Kyle. Well, that's unfortunate. But your gifts, your potential, they recognize it, and they just kind of sit there admiringly, sit back, and it's never about them. It's always about you. So those are your mentors. Yeah. And we really appreciate you listening to our crusade. And we hope that if you have questions about this, and by the way, please feel free to send questions in, because we'll take questions even if it's not on the topic that we're discussing, to answer those for future podcasts. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, Tori, tell us about upcoming events.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about some upcoming events that we have planned. Kyle and I are both, we have the speaking bug, obviously, because we're on a podcast.
Yes.
But we want to host an event. So we decided in November, we are going to host our first event. And we'll start the official, information, teasers, and give you guys a little background about what we'll be speaking about, and how you can get in touch with us, how you can join and come enjoy our event.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. That'll be in November. And anything else? Any other events?
I think that's a big one. So we're really excited about it, because we've packed a lot of stuff into this year already, and we're super excited about what the rest of the year holds. But November is a big one. That is a launch.
Yes. That's the first of many.
We're doing it.
I think so.
We are doing it. Whether people want to hear, they want to hear Tori. Maybe they might not want to hear me. We'll see. Anyway, so we also wanted to, because we talked a little bit about on our podcast when we did our drawing, Nancy Neese, who was our winner. And we're going to look forward to getting in touch with Nancy. I think we already made contact with her, so we're just going to schedule her in. But I wanted to remind you, and Tori wanted me to remind you as well, to please submit your name for consideration for upcoming drawings, right?
Yeah, so we're going to continue this on a monthly basis. We'll do a drawing for a one-on-one with Kyle and I. So we're going to there's a link on our website. Our website is onemoreThingPodcast.com, and there is a tab up at the top that says enter the drawing. And so throughout the month, you can go on there and enter your name to be a winner for a one-on-one. And so we'll pick a date each month, and we'll pick a winner.
And we'll kind of let you guide us in that, in terms of back to what Tori had said relative to the time that we spend together. It's your time. So we want to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck, although we're not charging. at this point. But I do want you guys to really enjoy and get as much as you possibly can out of it, because we're going to enjoy the opportunity to be in front of you.
Yes.
So we're excited about that. But I wanted to make sure that you knew for upcoming, because I've had a lot of people calling me and reaching out and saying, I want to be in there. How do I do that? I think I need a skywriter or something. I don't know what you need, but I will tell you that just follow what Tori said, and that will be perfect.
Onemorethingpodcast.com, and then up at the top there's a tab for enter the drawing.
So Tori, we still get a lot of people who go, how do I find your podcast? Where are you? We're everywhere. My dad used to say, like horse, you know what, in a barnyard.
So wow. You can find us, of course, online on our website, onemorethingpodcast.com. You can email us at info@onemorethingpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook under One More Thing. We also have a YouTube channel, and we just launched our Instagram account. Yes. So if you're an
What is that one? It's what?
It's One More Thing.
One More Thing. Is it One More Thing Podcast?
One More Thing Podcast.
Yeah.
At One More Thing Podcast. And
wait a minute. So give Insta a shout out, because we didn't do that in the last podcast.
So for our Insta fan, Tegan, we are now on Insta. One More Thing. We love you.
Insta, that is so awesome.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Where else are we?
I feel like an Uber hipster.
And so for the podcast, for the audio, so a lot of you guys prefer the video because we are entertaining, of course. But for the audio fans, on our podcast is on Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify.
Okay.
So if you listen to podcasts, Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify.
Okay, perfect.
So you can go to any of those platforms and search for One More Thing. And if you can't find us, put in Kyle and Tori or something like that. We'll come up. We'll see everyone like that. But yeah, so, and you know, that just reminded me.
I love when she does this. It's like Christmas.
It is like Christmas.
Yeah.
I just launched what am I trying to say?
Your social media thing?
No. I just submitted for us to be on Pandora.
What?
Kyle didn't even know that yet.
I don't even know what it is. Yeah, I do what it is. Yes. I do know what it is.
So
I do know what it is.
I'm working out the details for the back end part of that, but we're going to be.
My God, how cool is that? How cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, I am just overwhelmed. I don't even know what. Do I look, by the way, like Where's Waldo? Because I just, I'm looking at the red and white. I'm thinking I either look like an elf or something. No, you balance me really well in more ways than one. But I also want to show you something, because this is so darn funny. I brought these the last time, and my younger brother, whom I adore,
we can go on forever,
used to let's just do it. He used to make up song lyrics, which I thought were hysterical. And I'd say, what song are you singing? I found these cups, and it says, sweet dreams. Oh, they won't. I'll read it to you. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Who am I to disagree? So for those cheese lovers out there, you want to know where I got it. You just send me a message.
Dreams are made of cheese.
And I thought with Annie Lennox, because I get a lot of, you look like Annie Lennox. That was perfect to bring today, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So anything else we wanted to say about today? Thank you so much for joining us for this.
Yes.
But listen, we are on a crusade. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it, but guys, get in front of people and share your wisdom and let that carry on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for those people who have been instrumental in our lives, we are so eternally grateful, and we carry you with, and special place in my heart for Dawn. I will never, ever forget the fight that you put in me and the blessings that you bestowed on me. And I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. God bless you. God bless you. And I miss you already.
Thank you guys for joining us today. And as always, if you have any comments or feedback, please go ahead and leave us a note, either on social media or via email. And also, if you love our podcast, we'd love for you to go on any of our platforms and write a review for us.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
My mom would like to hear nice things about me. Well, she knows I'm already about Tori, but just, throw me in there too with Tori. So it's like, oh, I love Tori. Heck, Kyle. Ooh.
So we'd appreciate it if you guys have any kind words to share. We would love to hear from you.
Yes. Go tell a friend.
Yeah.
Even more so, right?
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
As always, we thank you for joining us. We couldn't do this without you.